was made an offer recently that I just couldn't turn down because I got something for free. And as long as it's not leprosy, I'll take something that's free. I was offered a maintenance kit for my Nova chuck. In this case, it's the Supernova 2. You can get maintenance kits for all of their different chucks. So anything you have, if you want to do this, the instructions are the same for any of them. And now I'm going to take you through on how to change the scroll ring and the snap ring and clean this up. Now, you can probably tell looking, mine is not in bad shape. It's got a little dust and dirt in it. That's about all. I try to keep my tools clean. I'm a bit of a fanatic about that. So it probably doesn't really need it, but because I can do this for free and maybe show you how to do it, I said, yes, I'll do this. Now, all I really need for tools is a set of snap ring pliers, a 3mm hex key, and a 4mm hex key, and that should be enough to do this job. So let's take a look at how this is done. Before I get any further, I should mention, this came out of there very easily, but as I'm sure you can see, this is pretty clean. I can't believe actually that it's that clean. I've had this about 5 or 10 years. It gets used frequently, but I do try to blow it out with compressed air and do whatever I can to keep my shop clean. Not neat necessarily, but clean. So if yours happens to be full of dust or some kind of gunk, this may not come out very easily if you have to pry it out with a screwdriver. However, it worked fairly well here, and I hope it works as well for you. All right, my next step is just to take these pinion gears out of here. They come out very nicely. Again, they're clean, so that probably helps. Now I'm going to just take the scrolling ring out of there. I'm not sure if that's even the right term for it. And turn this over. Now, just to make sure I get things in the right position, I'm going to make a small mark, if this will mark on here, the number of each of these jaws. The jaws are marked on the end so you can see what the number is. But I just want to make sure I get them in the right slot when I put them back in. Now there's a good chance when cleaning this, those are going to wipe off. And if that happens, these can slide out now. You can see there's kind of a little dimple mark right there where the number 1 jaw goes. So you can keep that in mind. And then remember that when it's face up like this, you count clockwise. Number 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now everything is apart. The next step is cleaning this. And I'm going to use WD-40. I've got a toothbrush that I always keep on here. And I'll just spray WD-40 a little bit on everything and use that toothbrush to try to clean everything up as well as I can. Then I'll go in there with a cloth, clean everything up again as well as I can, and then I'll take it and I will use compressed air to blow this after I use a cloth to dry it a bit. And I will do the whole chuck body, and then I will be back to show you my next step. All right, I've cleaned it up as well as I can. I don't know if it shows up very well, but that is looking a lot better than it did. I'm very happy with that. Now, to put it back together, I need to put this face back up, and as I suspected, all the numbers have disappeared. So luckily, I do have that little dimple in there to go with, and that's going to take number 1. Number 2, number 4, and number 3. What I want to do is bring them in until they create a little square right in the center of them. Turn it over and then drop the new scroll ring in and move it around until it drops into place. There we go. Not sure if it's going to show up, but you can see it's moving all of the jaws. So that's ready to go. Now I put the pinion gears back in place. Alright, now, as I had said, I like WD-40 for lubricating things. I'm going to do a fairly generous spray of it. Alright, that's spinning true. Now, as you might suspect, that WD-40 could come out of there all over the place. I'll show you in a moment how to fix that. Now it's time to put this back in place. Now my next step, just to put this snap ring in here. Don't like to use my fingers to push it down on the back side, because if it gets pinched, it's going to be painful. Never done it myself, but I know someone who did have that happen. He wasn't a very happy camper. Alright, just need to put this set screw back in here now. Make sure that that adapter doesn't move. Alright, now I'm just going to put the jaws back on, confirming that I have the number on the bottom matching with the end of the piece in there. Everything's nice and clean now. I cleaned up the jaws real well, even the screws, the bolts to hold them down. I'm quite pleased with this. All right, I am really happy with this. It wasn't dirty really to start with, but it's certainly looking good now. Now the only thing left is to get rid of that WD-40 that's inside. And this is an idea I read on the AAW forum, written by Tom Gall about 3.5 years ago. So let's take this over to the lathe and I'll show you what he suggested. I don't know how well this is going to show up, but I can see WD-40 running down the sides here. It's definitely coming out from the inside. Now, Tom Gall's suggestion was to take a box and put it over top of this to surround this, and then turn the lathe on and let it spit the WD-40 out on the inside of the box. And I would do that, except I don't happen to have an empty cardboard box handy. So I'm just going to use this large envelope. Now it's plastic coated on the inside, so it may not be ideal, but it should do the job. I'm going to turn this up to 3,000 RPM, and let's just see what happens here. All right. Yep, there's a fair amount of WD-40 in there. I don't know if it shows up on there or not, but it's definitely there. Now I'm just going to let this sit here. I've got a drop cloth underneath it protecting my bedways, and I'll let this drain for a little while. I realize I'm a bit spoiled. I have a second Supernova 2 chuck, which I use specifically for my coal jaws. Now that I found out just how easy this was to do, and having a Nova supplier nearby, I decided to do the same thing on this one. And this one was a lot dirtier and messier than this one was. It really did need to be cleaned out and maintained. So now they're both ready for the shop, ready to go back on the lathe, and I'm happy about it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe you got something out of it. I'm sure the same can be done for chucks by other manufacturers. I might just have to check that out one day. So thank you for joining me again. Have a great day in your shop and be safe, and I hope you'll come back next time. If you think this is of any help to anyone that you know that has one of these chucks, feel free to share it. And click the like button if you like what I'm doing. Let me know I'm doing something right. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye now.